Electra over the top has got up. Electra, the WA star, has won.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip, featuring Peter O'Neill. This is where we take a look at the WA greyhound racing scene, keeping a close look at what is happening on and off the track.
Keep an eye on the clock. She is brilliant, Miata. She stops the clock. 36.55, a new track record. A very good morning, everyone, and welcome along to Greyhound Gossip. Big weekend of greyhound racing. We had the Mandurah Middle Distance Challenge heats, and the final coming up on Friday has made it very interesting after the box draw. A couple of the favourites not making it through, including Couch Surfer. But Flying Frida, even though she was defeated, she has come up with box number 8 in the final. She's the favourite with TABtouch at $2.25. So Savic's drawn $1, $9. Stevie Manelli, $7. Jamie keeping in $3, $5.50. Clifton Cruise, $7. Ballistic Ant, $34. Sunset Louis, $7. Chloe Ant, $8. Flying Frida, $2.25. Couch Surfer's the second reserve, currently $3, second favourite, but still needing a couple of scratchings to be able to make it through to the final. And across at the Meadows, we had the running of the Zoom Top and also the Temlee. A brilliant victory, all-the-way victory in the Temlee to explicit for Jason Thompson, defeating the kennelmate Alpha Zulu. So it was very, very smart indeed. And then the Zoom Top, Valpicella for Anthony Zammit was too good for Zohar Bale. That was on Saturday night. And unfortunately, no WA greyhound racing on Saturday night. The meeting was called off due to the hot weather conditions and the stewards and Racing WA calling off that meeting nice and early. That means the Puppy Classic heats will be transferred across to this Saturday. You need to renominate, and box draws will take place on Tuesday morning. Big news, of course, this morning here on Greyhound Gossip. We have the announcement of the TABtouch slot for the 2024, the Sandgroper. And joining us for this morning on Greyhound Gossip, Matt Nowland, the TABtouch representative, and he has some big breaking news. Matt, good morning to you, first of all. You must be excited. The Sandgroper is not too far away.
Yeah, good morning to you, Pete, and good morning to all of the listeners. Very excited. The Sandgroper about 66 days away, and I've got some exciting news for TABtouch this morning. We're very, very pleased to announce our partnership with Jessia and Jason Sharp, and we'll be teaming up with Morton, who's obviously a Group 1 winner in his own right, taking out the Gold Bullion a few starts ago, and we thought he was magnificent in the Temlee the other night, where he didn't have any luck whatsoever.
Yeah, got squeezed at the start, didn't he? But Explicit was very, very impressive. I'll come back to Morton in a few moments' time. Explicit, there has been talk. There's no confirmation yet on our site, but there's been talk that Explicit's going to be taken by Punters HQ. Very, very impressive winner there on Saturday night. And currently with TABtouch, the $3.50 favourite. Yeah,
he certainly is, Pete, and there has been some murmurs around that Explicit is coming across for the Sandgroper, and obviously his record speaks for itself, and it would be a great coup for WA if he was to come over and tackle the Sandgroper. But in saying that, we're very, very happy to be teaming up with Morton. He's won 13 of his 21 starts. He run the quickest time all year in Victoria last year at the Meadows, and he just hasn't had a great deal of luck with the box draws, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that can change come Sandgroper time, and we're very excited to be teaming up with Team Sharp.
He won the Gold Bullion recently up in Queensland, and Jessia and Jason Sharp will be joining us in a moment. But what was it that you saw in Morton that made you decide that you would have him as your choice? Because there was a WA-bred chaser in Big Energy who's racing very well over on the East Coast, and there's some very, very talented WA chasers as well. He's also the first ever Group 1 winner from Tommy Shelby. Did that have any sort of weight in your decision?
Oh, it certainly did. It certainly added to the selection process, the fact that he is by Tommy Shelby. But we just love the way this greyhound chases. He's a dog that has shown a lot of early speed in the past, but also when he doesn't begin overly quickly, he still chases very hard. And speaking with Jason and Jessia Sharp, they've also advised us that they're going to bring him across for the Perth Cup, which was another big tick for us. So we get a look at him over here. And obviously we're all about promoting WA greyhound racing. And for them to say that they'd potentially avoid the Golden Easter egg and bring him across for the Perth Cup was a big contributing factor for us to select Morton.
So the Sandgroper is going to be run solely on its own this year on Thursday, the 18th of April at Cannington. $600,000 on offer. All the documentation's been signed, so that'll be going up on the
Yeah, it's all signed, sealed, delivered. We've asked him to hold off. So we've had this signed, sealed and delivered for a few weeks now, Pete. We've just had to pick our moment to announce it. And obviously we chose this morning. But, yeah, we've had this dog signed away for almost a month now. So we're very excited to be teaming up with him and can't wait to have him across here. He'll trial on the 2nd of March and then he'll come back and race in the Perth Cup heats and hopefully he performs well and gets into the Perth Cup. And then Jessica and Jason will take him back home and he'll come back across for the Sandgroper.
All right, they're about to join us online. Thanks for joining us with that breaking news. That's Matt Nowland from TABtouch. Breaking news that Morton will be the TABtouch representative in the 2024 the Sandgroper coming up on Thursday the 18th of April. Let's go back to the Gold Bullion. I feel for Johnny Brash here because this happened to me a couple of years ago in a Perth Cup with a very close finish, and this is the replay of the Gold Bullion, of which Morton won the Group 1, the first of the Tommy Shelby pups to win a Group 1.
Racing, Bears Bullet began well, so did Magistrate. Down the outside was All Natural, Cluster is handy, followed by Morton Sundry, another chance from Scarlatti. Into the first turn and All Natural crossed, leads by 3 over Magistrate. Third Bears Bullet, followed by Cluster. Morton goes up in the centre, followed by Sundry, another chance and Scarlatti. Down the side, it's All Natural, 3 in front. Morton starting to eat up the ground. It's All Natural in front. Morton is charging home. All Natural is all class and won the Group 1. Beat Morton.
Yeah, right on the line. He's got up Morton to salute in the Gold Bullion, and we're about to be joined by his trainers Jessica Sharp and also Jason Sharp, both of them online from Victoria. Jessica and Jason, thanks for joining us on Greyhound Gossip over here in Perth, and we're very excited because your Greyhound will be representing TABtouch, our slot for the Sandgroper coming up in April. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Jessica, first of all, I'm not sure whether you were up in Queensland. I think Jason was there, but what did you think watching the race? Did you think Morton had got up in the Gold Bullion?
Yeah, I was there, so I was standing right by the finishing line, so I kind of knew that he had got up, but, until that 5 came up on the board, it was quite nerve-wracking, but I felt that I had seen that he had won.
So you were on the line, Jason. I take it you were behind the boxes. What did you think when they've hit the line and Bunny's gone for the other greyhound on the inside?
Yeah, it was really hard from behind. It's sort of you're looking at bums and you're just trying to work out which bum is in front of the other bum, if that makes any sense. And then, when Bunny went that, I wasn't sure, and then their telecast was a little bit delayed on the TV, and seeing it flash past in real time, it was that close. You wouldn't have known. And then even with the slow mo, that all the locals, because they're all locals in the rest of the race, they all said, "Oh no, inside's got it. Definitely favours the inside." So it was. Yeah, we thought we'd run second there for a little while, and then, that was like a big wave of emotion came over me when the 5 went up. It was crazy. It was unbelievable.
How exciting is it, Jessica? He's in your name as the trainer. How exciting is it to win a Group 1 with a greyhound like him?
Oh, it's really surreal after all these years. We've sort of we've been dreaming about it, but we have not. You don't know when it's going to happen. So we were really hopeful, but. Oh, it was just huge. It was just, we were crying and we were laughing, and it was just fantastic.
Can either of you tell us about when you first put eyes on Morton? He's a son of Tommy Shelby, so that was exciting for us over here in WA as well, that one of Tommy Shelby's sons has now won a Group 1. What was he like when he first came into your care? Because even though he's won 13 races and over $400,000 in stake money, he didn't start racing until July last year. So what did he show you as a pup?
Jason or me?
Yeah, you go for it, Jessica.
Well, he arrived here when he was about 3 months old with his brother, Stormy Day, and just looked like any other pup, I guess. Beautiful and gorgeous, of course, but, and he grew up with us, and obviously many months later he started his break-in, and we started the pre-training, and that's when Jason started getting really excited. So, Jason can take it from there. Well,
he's won his first 2, Jason, and he always showed a lot of speed, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And strength. He's sort of like a really good all-rounder, and that's why we got really excited. I think it was around maybe 16 months. I put him around Meadows. I think he went best of the day. He went 30 something best of the day, and I went home to Jess and I said, I think we've got one here. And she goes, yeah. Just wait till that race. You don't want to moz him too early. But, yeah, I was pretty keen. It was like just couldn't wait to start him, but I tried to hold him back as long as I could. So, and he's just done everything that you could possibly want from him, and he's just a professional dog.
He's run some sensational times at Sandown and also at the Meadows. Late last year, he ran third in the Group 1 behind Mapunga Shine. Was it then your decision to travel him up to Queensland, or had you already made that decision? We
sort of had already decided, we were going, already then, and then to Sydney. Our oldest son, Liam, he sort of goes through and has a look what's coming up for us, and he sort of tells us which way we should be, not tell us which way should we go, but suggest which races we should go in. So he's all over that sort of stuff, all the big races coming up. So that's why we went to Queensland. We had a bit of luck up there. We really loved the place, and we can't wait to go back to Queensland, actually.
He won the Group 1, of course, and then you were in discussions with Matt Nowland and TABtouch. Matt said earlier on for about 4 weeks, so we've always had a high opinion of your greyhound. What made you decide to come across to Perth? And I'll get you to explain. Matt mentioned that you might be coming across for the Perth Cup, so put us through in your position, Jason, what the negotiations were like with TABtouch.
They were pretty basic. They did ring us, and we were keen to go with them straight away, and there wasn't too much negotiation going on. We just worked it out between ourselves, and it was very easy going, actually. It was really pleasant, actually, so there was no stress whatsoever with it.
He showed that he travelled well to Queensland. So are your plans to come across early and give him a look at the track before the Perth Cup Carnival?
Yeah, obviously we'll see what happens in the Australian Cup, and then the week after the Australian Cup, we'll come over on that Saturday to trial, and then we'll go in the Perth Cup heats and hopefully make the Perth Cup and see from there. And then probably going to miss the Easter egg. I don't know. We might have to just back off a little bit with him and give him a quick freshen up and then the Sandgroper.
Yeah, a big decision to miss the riches of the Golden Easter egg, but obviously coming across to Perth, and I know you, Jessica, have got some good friends over here in Western Australia, so you must be excited to be able to get across here and catch up with them.
Absolutely, yeah. We actually got married in Perth, so we haven't been back since, or I haven't been back since. I'm really looking forward to coming back over. It will be great.
Yeah. What made you decide to get married in Perth? Were you living here at the time?
No, it was just an impulse thing. Like everything we do is a bit impulse. We thought, we'll go over there for a holiday, and for 10 minutes we'll get married. So that was kind of as far as we planned, and it was good. It was really nice. We loved it.
Yeah, what a great story.
Next island.
Yeah. Jace, we've had some outstanding Victorian greyhounds that have raced over here and won our Perth Cup. Do you think you'll be suited to the Cannington circuit?
Oh, definitely. I think so. It's just with him, he just needs a little bit of clear air in the first 10 or 15 metres, and then he's in the race. It's just, if he gets cut out or knocked over in the first 10 or 15, he's, no dogs really can make it, but he just needs a little bit of room, and then he's right in most races. So I think he'll handle it pretty good. But that's why we wanted to come over for the look and for the Perth Cup heats, and give him as many looks as we can before the Sandgroper.
Well, add some extra value.
Hard to beat the locals.
Yeah, it's add some...
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's just hard to beat the locals on their own patch. They've got a bit of a leg up on the other dogs, so yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to have you across here for both races. You're going to add something to the Perth Cup Carnival, and we might even see some more come across. Back to Saturday night, Jason, what did you make of his run? He had no luck early. Explicit was brilliant, but he had no luck early, but he chased really hard to the line.
He did. He chased really good, and I wasn't really disappointed with the run. It was one of them races, either he had to absolutely ping or he had to half miss it, and he sort of just came out with them, and he just got cleaned up. He just was a pinball machine or pinball. He got hit 3 or 4 times, but then up the back he went past some really good dogs. So he is a good chasing dog. So I was really happy with the run.
Well, Jessica and Jason, we're all very excited to have your greyhound Morton come across to WA. He's the first Group 1 winner of Tommy Shelby. That's another exciting factor, and he'll be representing TABtouch in the Sandgroper. We get to see him prior in the Perth Cup Carnival coming up in March, but we're very excited with the Western Trilogy. There's 3 days of racing, the Thursday night at Cannington with the Sandgroper, Friday night the Nullarbor at Gloucester Park, and then on the Saturday it's the Quokka, and WA really goes off. So if you can stay across for the 4 week, you'll really enjoy it, and we'll love to look after you when you do come across. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for teaming up with TABtouch in the Sandgroper.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pete. I just want to say thanks to TABtouch and Matt, and let's hope we win it.
Good on you. Let's hope you do as well. Jason Sharp and Jessica Sharp joining us from Victoria. And, of course, they are the trainers of Morton. Jessica, the trainer of Morton, he's won 13 times from 21 starts, $412,000 in stake money. He's a Group 1 winner. He'll be going through the Australian Cup. And then the other big news, he comes across for the Perth Cup Carnival as well. Let's continue on with Greyhound Gossip, and we're about to be joined by one of the legends of greyhound racing, a man that I've always looked up to, and a guy who has returned to Western Australia with his wife Joanna, and I speak of Craig Evans. He's going to join us online. We're going to talk about this is the 50 years of WA greyhound racing, who are the top 8 WA greyhounds in the history of our sport. And it might sound easy enough, but as Craig and I will discuss in a few moments' time, it is certainly not an easy task, as there is already 8 greyhounds in the WA Hall of Fame. Craig, of course, called in Western Australia. The last WA-trained greyhound to win a Perth Cup when Craig was calling was back in the year 2000.
Racing, Nifty Fire began okay on the inside. McAdams, Properosty with good pace. McAdams is going to go to the front. Nifty Fire gets a bump. Hahn bails across into a good position, but McAdams led. Properosty got underneath a Hahn bail. Nifty Fire will have to dig deep, is looking for an inside run. Next staying around, Bagheera, well back under mine, and Roxy Reasoner. Off the back, McAdams leader. Properosty coming at it from Harnbale and Nifty Fire. Properosty, McAdams fight it out. Properosty goes to lead but bumps with McAdams. Here's Nifty Fire. Nifty Fire's done it tough, but it's got up. Nifty Fire over Properosty and McAdams.
So Craig Evans calling the 2000 Perth Cup, and elite caller. He was a elite caller and went broadcasting around the world with thoroughbred racing. And Craig's been good enough to join us this morning on Greyhound Gossip. How do we find you, Craig?
Yeah, very well, Pete. Trying to keep cool in these conditions, but yeah, going well. Been back in WA for a couple of months now and thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, let's just talk about you left WA, I think, at the end of 2006. Is that correct?
Yeah, my last meeting at Cannington was New Year's Eve, which were pretty massive events back in those days. So New Year's Eve 2006, watched the fireworks, drove out the gate, and then I was up in Singapore by probably, I think I started there about the 14th of January 2007.
So you called in Singapore for quite a while and then went across to Dubai. How did you enjoy the international race calling?
Yeah, it was terrific. I got to travel a lot and see some really good race horses. 10 years in Singapore. I was there probably through the golden era of racing in Singapore. We had a horse called Rocket Man, and I was lucky enough to travel pretty well right around the world with him, covering his exploits back in 2010, 11 and 12, and then came back and decided to move to Melbourne, and then out of the blue got a call to do the Dubai season for 4 years on a seasonal basis. So I was up there from October to April for 4 years in a row, and that was certainly the pinnacle of my career, calling Dubai World Cups over that period of time. So yeah, had a lot of fun and a bit of luck along the way, and certainly enjoyed myself.
You came back to Australia and you based yourself in Melbourne, where I think your son has sort of made a mark for him. He's probably bigger than you now, the fact that he's the strapper for Mr. Brightside, who won another Group 1 on the weekend. But you based yourself in Melbourne, you called for a little while, and then you travelled around Australia and you decided to come back and set up in Perth and resettle in Perth. Was that always the plan for you and Joanna?
Yeah, I think so. It was always Perth has always been home since we left. At the end of 2006, early 2007, we'd come back at least once a year to Perth and WA and head up to Carnarvon, our hometown. But it was always in our back of our mind that we'd settle back here one day. And things were getting a little bit tougher on the east coast. The weather was pretty oppressive where we were down in Geelong for the last couple of years of our tenure over there. So one day we just decided to up stumps and return home. We travelled pretty well the entire last year. We went right the way up to Kununurra, spent some time in Broome, and virtually had our gap year, which we never got to do as youngsters. So we did that and then went back to Melbourne for the Spring Carnival, where Will is, as you mentioned, and then settled back here in mid-November,
And your daughter Kate's back here with you in Perth as well. It's great to have you back. How are you and Joanna finding the heat, first of all, because it has been a very hot summer?
It has been a hot summer, but we've enjoyed it. There's been no issues whatsoever. We brought a little unit, lacking in air conditioning in a couple of the rooms, so it's a little bit oppressive at night, but certainly loving being back in Perth. We're lucky enough to have bought a little place, a really central location, so we can get out and about. And, when you come back from, a place like Melbourne, which is fantastic, but you just notice, the traffic. I know, being a local peak, you'd probably say, the traffic down to Mandurah or whatever's pretty tough at time, but you ain't seen nothing to compare with the traffic in Melbourne, which is horrendous. So those sort of things, the weather, the traffic, just the laid-back style, we're really enjoying it.
This year, when you come back to Perth, we're celebrating 50 years of greyhound racing, established in December 1974, our first ever meeting. You were at the Greyhound of the Year function and you saw some of the videos and some of the history of our sport. And I thought we would ask you to come on, and over the next few weeks, yourself, David Short, David Simonetti and I will get together and we'll come up with and discuss, and probably there'll be some debate on who we think, between the four of us, who we think the top 8 WA greyhounds in the 50 years of our history are. And we're asking our listeners if they want to join in. They can text in on the Retrovision text line 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571, or go on our socials over the next couple of weeks at the Dogs WA and Tab Radio, and we'll certainly put your views forward. But I went through some history over the weekend, Craig, and I know I didn't give you a lot of time with this, but there's already 8 WA greyhounds in the WA Hall of Fame, and they are not in any order, but Bright Idea, Sandy's My Mum, Afro Freeway, Mr. Toe White, Miata, Blue Echo, Regimite and Paradise Street. 8 outstanding greyhounds. But do they make up the top 8 in your opinion?
Certainly, I'd say there'd be probably 4 or 5 absolute shoo-ins in that list, but you'd have to go back and really analyse their performances. And obviously it's going to be very much dependent, from my point of view, the greyhounds I saw, and then subsequent to 2006, the greyhounds you've seen, and going back to earlier than that, someone like Dave Simonetti's been around virtually since day one, so he would have had the chance to see the likes of Mr. Toe White and Afro Freeway. But certainly in my time, I was lucky enough, I came down to Perth and called my first greyhound race in 1988. So I was right at the start of the career of Sandy's My Mum, and she won 2 national sprint championships, still the only greyhound to do that, I believe, in 89 and 90. So she's got to be an automatic go in there, you'd imagine. Obviously, it's not going to be down to me solely, but she'd be one that'd go in there. There was a greyhound at the time that probably didn't have the longevity of Sandy's My Mum, but came from the same litter, Sand Pebble, who beat Sandy's My Mum, I think, in a Perth Cup in the early 90s. So, those sort of greyhounds, whether you look at the greyhounds who won significant, interstate races, or greyhounds who had the longevity and, might have won 30 races out of 50 starts and had a significant part to play in the history of WA greyhound racing. So there'd be a heck of a lot to go through and to think about. But certainly that list of 8 you mentioned, there's got to be at least 4 or 5 that would be walk-up starts.
And there's a couple of other greyhounds that we're going to try and push into the 8, and they would be Tommy Shelby, who had you might not have seen a lot of his racing, but had such a big following, not only here in WA, but online as well. He won over $1 million in stake money. He had a massive following. I remember Electra, a greyhound that I called, coming from last to win a Galaxy. How do we compare this era to the ones from the past. I've always been brought up to you don't ever compare eras, but when we're trying to bring 8 greyhounds or say 14 greyhounds into 8, it's going to be always difficult comparing them.
Oh, definitely. And one thing you've probably got to be a little bit wary of is comparing prize money won by greyhounds, because obviously greyhounds, and this is absolutely taking nothing away from Tommy Shelby, but greyhounds have the capacity to earn a heck of a lot more than they would have, back in the day of Sandy's Me Mum. And, of course, national championships invariably hadn't, even in my time, weren't worth probably what they should have been worth. They were, they weren't regarded, or they were massive events. They weren't, big prize money events. Mr. Towhite, I'm not sure what it would have received for winning the 78 National Sprint Championship in Adelaide, but it would have been an absolute pittance compared to what the National Sprint Champion of this year will earn. So it's difficult to line them up, and whether you go for sprinters ahead of stayers, because during my time we had the likes of Wits End and Paradise Street and Genève and Jamali Park and all these really good greyhounds that won Galaxies and won national or WA distance championships. Whether you put onus on sprinting because it's probably more competitive than the staying races, or greyhounds that win a stack of races across their career, whether they're more worthy to go in there. But certainly Eras is going to be the tricky one, because as I said earlier on, from my point of view, you really stuck in your mind the greyhounds that you saw. I've heard and read about and watched on replays Tommy Shelby and Miata and Elite Machine and all the good greyhounds of the last 5 or 6 years. But obviously I'm going to be thinking of greyhounds like Regimite and Sandy's Me Mum and these sort of greyhounds that were racing during my era.
So when you were calling, who was the best that you saw? Because during the Perth Cup history, when you were calling, a lot of the greyhounds came across from Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland to take out the Perth Cup and the feature races back then.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that because, the best greyhound I ever called was Rapid Journey, who won a national championship here in Perth and also won a Perth Cup the next year, I think in 98 or thereabouts. So it was the best greyhound I saw, but the best Western Australian greyhound, you'd have to say Sandy's Me Mum. What she did to put WA on the map was quite remarkable. But for some reason or another, I do remember at the time thinking to myself that Sand Pebble was probably a better greyhound than Sandy's Me Mum. Now, that's probably going to, raise some debate, but Sand Pebble didn't have the longevity or the career of Sandy's Me Mum. But for some reason, I've just got it in the back of my mind that it was a more explosive greyhound, and it did win a Perth Cup over Sandy's Me Mum. So Sandy's Me Mum will be the standout. Regimite was a greyhound that made it to a national championship. I was there the night it raced at Sandown. A lot of really nice greyhounds, but you'd have to go back through and really analyse all the performances and try and put the weight in the right position and work out whether a greyhound that just sort of blows onto the scene and wins, a handful of races in a short period of time, or a greyhound that's on the scene for two and a half years and racks up a great career, who's got the most points on the board, I guess.
Well, you, Shorty, Simo and I will sit together. We'll have lunch. Might be a long lunch. Might be a bit of debate, I'd say. And we'll come up with our top 8 and then bring it back and maybe discuss it on Greyhound Gossip in a few weeks' time. And as I mentioned, Craig, if any of our listeners want to join in and give their thoughts, there might be a greyhound that we've totally forgotten about, and it does happen because there's so many that we see. But 0427 789 571, the Retrovision text line. You can get involved, or on our socials, Tab Radio or the Dogs WA. Thanks for joining us, Craig. Good to have you back in Perth, and I'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks and we'll go through and see if we can come up with the top 8 greyhounds to race in Western Australia in our 50th year.
No worries, Pete. Just if you could keep myself and Simonetti separated, maybe at different ends of the table, that'd be appreciated.
I will do. No worries. Craig Evans joining us on Greyhound Gossip. A big day of greyhound news, of course, with the naming of the TABtouch slot holder in Moreton, who'll be joining us in the Sandgroper in April, and coming across prior to that for the Perth Cup Carnival as well. He was Moreton. I'll just have a look at the prices that we had on offer a few moments ago. I'm not sure if the market's still up with TABtouch. As I go to that, just bear with me. I'll just filter our way through. But big news, and the fact that he's in the Perth Cup market at the moment. Morton is currently at $7 explicit, $4.50, Big Energy at $6, and I think the market's pretty similar also for the Sandgroper coming up on the Thursday the 18th, with explicit currently at $3.50, Big Energy $5.50, and Morton at $7.50, Postman Pat $8, but Morton locked away as the slot holder for TABtouch.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.